But before Joe comes on, maybe let's talk about Heston Kjerstad here for a little bit. So for the next 5 minutes, Kjerstad, as we know, has done everything possible down to AAA level. The conversation, guys, is going to go to, well, will he get his at-bats in this run around right now? Especially Austin Hayes has started to swing the bat, pick it up. We talked about Cedric Mullins being able to get on a roll here. If there was a positive again on this road trip, especially in Houston, I should say, said he did very well in Houston and had that impactful series against New York. So where you're looking at Anthony Santander just hits home runs left and right. So the question's going to be, where does Heston continue to slide in? Because I don't see Tony Taters losing at bats. I don't see Cedric Mullins losing his at bats. And then we have the Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle. Every righty's going to have Ryan O'Hearn. And I guess that's where I'm trying to figure out, guys.
He's taking Cowser's at bats.
You think that's going to happen?
That's what's going to happen, I think, because I don't think they would have brought him back up if they did not. Michael Elias had made comments about how they didn't really feel like he's gotten an extended look in the outfield yet. You know, they still felt like every time he comes up, he gets, shots here and there, but nothing consistent. And I think with Cowser struggling at the plate, obviously he's had some big home runs recently, but overall the numbers have dropped. I think that you are going to see them give him an opportunity, even though the defense will be a little bit of a step back from Cowser in left field. I think they're going to give Kjerstad an opportunity to go say, hey, I can hit my way onto this team and my bat will be more valuable than the slight step back in defense. Does it mean that I think he starts for Cowser all year? He takes a spot? No, but I think that's where they're going to find opportunities because like you said, you can't sit O'Hearn. You can't sit Santander right now. Mullins is playing great. Even Hayes is playing really good ball. So it's like, it's hard to find a spot. And the only spot I could see him getting opportunities is where Cowser is getting shots.
Yeah. And again, look, that's the business of it. And Heston, I don't have his AAA stats put up right now. He was at the top of almost everything offensively from what you need to be at from a production standpoint. So when you're looking at Heston Kjerstad, you're looking at a guy like we've talked about that has such high upside, especially in the power department overall, and I've told you guys this before, and when we had him on, and Heston, his game is he uses the whole field just as well, and that's what makes him dangerous, is that he has power to all parts of the field, and that's a bat then that could be able to make an impact. But the biggest thing is if you can't get in rhythm as a young player, that's where things can be challenging as a team. And Rocco, like that's what we talked about. And before, obviously, we'll get to the Guardians preview here just in a second, but that's essentially what Heston has been had to deal with. That's what all these young players have had to deal with. If we're talking about with Cowser, Heston, Stowers, they've had to be patient because Norby as well. People have had to be patient because there's a lot of talent still on that Baltimore roster.
Yeah, quickly before we move on to the Guardians preview, you look at Heston's at-bats in his first game getting called up this season. He went 0 for 4. Okay, he had an opportunity there, but that's his first game back in the bigs. So you have to think about that, the patience, the level it takes to make that jump and get back to the bigs. And then he didn't play for another 3 days. And then after that, he didn't play for a handful of days. It was May 1st, then May 3rd, then May 7th and May 8th and May 11th. So he only got to play in back-to-back games one time this season. That's tough on any player to try to get into a rhythm. He had 2 hits in that span. I think he went 2 for 15 or 2 for 14 overall. So, but his sample size is not big enough. If you're going to bring Heston Kjerstad up here, especially the way he's performed at the minor league level, hitting 300, hitting 16 home runs, 58 RBIs. He's been a stud this season in AAA.
Yep.
Give him a chance. See what he can do with a bigger sample size than he currently has.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like it's so hard to get into a groove when you're not getting consistent at bats. I mean, Ryan, I'm sure you can speak to it too, where it's just like, you can't figure out, just where you are. And if you're sitting for 2 days, you get 1 at bat, then you sit for 4 days, then you get a start, and then you sit for another 4 days. It's just there's not a lot. And yes, I mean, for a lot of these prospects, we know the Orioles have an abundance of guys, an abundance of talent, and that path is going to, it's going to be more blocked than in these other organizations. Heston probably starts like in what 28 of 30 teams.
He's big. There's no doubt he's big
Right.
league ready. And the last thing I'll say with this is that Heston Kjerstad, when you look at it, and you mentioned the at bats, it's one thing if you're a veteran. That's when we talked about roles when everyone's like, throw Ramon Arias off the team. Ramon knows how to play if he sits for a while, and he brings a different element to the team. In the other case for Heston, he's trying to figure it out at the big league level. So it's very hard to do when you're trying to figure out how to be a big leaguer while also trying to figure out how to be in a different role than you've never been in your career so far. So, hey, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button.